December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Today, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
Company or the outfit that I was with, they were all brought in together and it formed Acorn 45, which was Aviation Construction Ordnance Repair Navy. At that time, that was in 1943, and that was after they had bombed Pearl Harbor. My brother Jimmy and my brother Billy and my brother Donald. Donald was in the Marine Corps. Jimmy and Billy were both in the Army engineers, and I was the only one in the Navy. So there was four of us in at one time. Then I had a younger brother, Dale, who went in the Navy after the war and served in the Navy too. So there was there were 7 boys and 6 girls in our family.
To me, always a hero is the one who didn't make it. That's what I always look at. I know a lot of people that did, but I was in the Air Force, and it was Army Air Force. There was no such thing as Air Corps when I was going in. There were 4 of us boys, my brothers, and all 4 of us was in service, and all of them gone with me. I was talking to Preacher one day about it. He said, it was pretty rough over there. I said, Jeff, don't tell nobody.
It was there, that was where you saw the pictures of the hospital that was Quonset. They made into the hospitals there and joined them together to form a place where you could walk around and take care of patients, and had x-ray, and they had all the equipment that we had. And this is where our doctors and the corpsmen took care of the patients that we had, or anybody that was wounded came there. The Filipino people, they were real good people, but it was a thing that the Japanese overran the islands before the bombs were dropped, and they had that march from Corregidor and Bataan. It was called the Death March. They had the American prisoners, and they just marched them. I think something like 25 miles. That they, had them in a group, made them march. But the Filipinos, they did whatever they told them they had to do, just to survive, really. Because they said that they had one that showed a picture of the Japanese had taken a baby, threw it up in the air and caught it on the bayonet, and getting stabbed, just killed it. And they said that was exact. They said if you didn't do what we wanted you to do, there's going to be more. And that was one of the bad things that the Japanese had, that they did to those people.
I lived in a squad tent once that had 12 people in it, and all of us worked at headquarters and did one thing or another. Just so happened that's where I wound up. But I was in Texas, Kellyfield, Sackfield, and also one other place. And then I went to Colorado. And the whole time I was overseas, I got no time off. I mean, they didn't give you a pass. Back then, they didn't stop things to give you a day off. So when I got out of service, I had all this time. And so they didn't give me a discharge. They gave me a separation and then sent me a check for 3 months. 3 or 4 months, every month, because they still owed me the time. So rather than give me the time, they just paid me for it. And they'll give you. This is the way it was. See, as long as you was in the air, and I was in there, so down on the ground, everything was small. You're traveling 40,000 feet in the air, and you can't make much out on the ground. And you can drop thousands of pounds of bombs and blow up a rock, but you don't know what goes on unless you see the pictures later. So I said, you didn't ever fly low? Not if you're smart. I was fortunate. I got in some close places. I've seen planes come back with 2 engines, still laying. I've seen them come back without any wheels, still laying. 17 was a tremendous ship. It was a prop plane, but it was held. You could fly on it with bathing water. We used to say that, but it was a good plane.
I think it was April that they said that they had dropped the bomb in Japan, and everybody was all excited, saying, "Oh, the war's over, we're going home." And I said, "Okay." And I went home, and they told us, they said, all of those that are veterans of the war, you can go back to one of your jobs that you had. They need to take you back and let you work. Or you could get $20 a week for 4 weeks. And that was the end of it. And I said, well, I told my dad and my mom, I said, I'm not going to stay home for $20 a week. I'll go back in the service. So I re-enlisted and went back in the Navy. I know there was a lot of other guys that are not around. They're not still living. That were during the same war that I was in. And I know they feel the same way. You're proud of your country.
But I was just a soldier. And I was just wanting to do a job. And I was doing all I could at the time. That's all. And that's all any man does. War is trouble. I don't think war's answer for anything. But I'm an American. And I've seen enough that took place that when there's a problem, I'm with this country. And if there was another war come up, at my age, I'm 87 years old, I'd join the war.